What happened to all the convertibles, all these cheap, small, budget convertibles? Today we're going to tidy up this soft top on this Mk1 convertible. We've got some Renovo Soft Top Conditioner and recolors. It's like back to black for soft tops. If we have a look at this car, we shall see that the soft top, spin round, is a little grey, a little faded. It's very dry, it feels very dry. So we're going to hit it with some of this Renovo and see what happens to it. But I have a question first. What happened to all the convertibles? Like, convertibles were super popular in the 2000s. And I'm not saying that convertibles aren't still popular. There are still many convertible cars, but in the high end. So we're not really going to talk about those cars. We have like Porsches, all of the Ferraris, McLarens, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, even Mercedes, E-Class, C-Class, BMW M4s, Audi A5s. They're still convertibles that you can buy. But so many of the space entry-level convertibles have just vanished. They've been taken out of manufacturers' lineup, and most European manufacturers, especially the French, their lineups are all now just small crossovers. Every video we seem to do, we talking shit about crossovers, but it's true, and like there's a real fun element of driving, which is like a small convertible. This Mk1 Golf, we have another Mk1 Golf there. I really like convertibles, some people don't. I've had a 911 Turbo convertible, that's a Land Cruiser convertible, that's a G-Wagon convertible, there's another Mk1 convertible outside. You know, I'm a big fan of a convertible. You know, too many journalists are talking about, oh, there's the skull shake and the rattle, and that doesn't really matter to most people, you know. It's a bit flexy. People don't notice this car's a bit flexy. Who cares? It's just great fun driving around in a convertible, and they're all gone. Like, I very rarely, especially somewhere here in Mallorca, full of hire cars. It was traditionally full of many, many convertibles. I would come on holiday, rent a convertible. What are you really left to rent now, convertible-wise? You can rent a Mustang, a Volkswagen T-Roc. Like, that's really says something about Volkswagens from this great car and from the Beetle, innovative cars like the EOS, but really the Golf Mk1 convertible, had Mark 3, Mark 4, all these convertibles, A3s. These cars are all gone. Even the Audi TT convertible no longer exists. You might not even have noticed that a lot of these cars have disappeared, but there are so few convertibles left, right? So I actually I was thinking about this the other day, and I had to go and look in the internet about all of this convertibles. So I just got ChatGPT and I asked, find me all the convertibles that were available between 1990 and 2022, and I had to write them down, right? There are pages of them, right? And this obviously isn't even broken down into like specific parts of individual models, right? So you know, when you stop and think about it now, these cars have all vanished. So we'll start Rover 200, MGF, Metro convertible, and the classic Mini convertible. The MGF was in Britain one of the best-selling convertibles of the 90s, hard to believe. Then we have the BMW Mini came along, Smart, Alfa Romeo, Brera, Spider, Fiat Punto, 124 Spider, and Fiat 500, obviously the Abarth. Citroen C3 Puriel, the one with the roof links that lifted out, interesting car. Citroen DS3 Cabrio, and then we get into the Peugeot 205 CTI, a great little convertible. And then we have this 306, 206, 307, 308, 207, all convertibles, and really one of the leaders in the folding hardtop convertibles with their 206cc, super popular car in the early 2000s, probably late 90s, early 2000s, one of the best sellers. Renault, we had the Renault 19, that's a beautiful looking convertible. Megane and the Megane CC. The Megane 16 valves is a nice little convertible, and the Renault Wind. Honda, we had the Del Sol and the S2000. The Del Sol's not really a convertible, it's more of a folding hardtop Targa type thing, but let's include it anyway, right? Because it's open top motoring, okay? Mazda MX-5, obviously still going. Mitsubishi Colt CZC, remember them? Nissan, we had the 350 convertible, 370 convertible, Micra, and the Murano convertible. Suzuki did actually in the UK sell the Cappuccino, and then they had their Vitara and Jimmy. Suzuki Vitara convertible, the Fat Boys and things. Super popular cars in the 90s. Jeep Wrangler, still going. Chrysler Crossfire, PT Cruiser, Ford Escort, Escort XR3i's. It's a super popular car here in Spain in the 90s. 80s and 90s, definitely in the 90s. Street car, Focus CC. I couldn't even tell you what a Focus CC looks like. I'm sure I've seen one, but I can't remember it. Then we have the Vauxhall Astra convertible and the Vauxhall Tigra convertible. Remember that? Probably rusted away to nothing. I don't really want to include these cars because they're sort of a segment above. I really want to focus on the smaller, cheaper cars. But we have obviously BMW, 1 Series, 2 Series, 3 Series, 4 Series, Z3, Z4, 6 Series, Z8 also obviously. But I suppose you include the 1 and the 2 Series, and there's a more budget entry, but they're still expensive cars. Mercedes, again, same thing. SL, SLK, CLK, E-Class, C-Class, S-Class, all convertibles. Audi 80, A4, TT, A3, A5. The fact that the TT's been discontinued is really interesting to me. Lexus SC and the LC. Interesting that the Lexus LC is one of the survivors of this list. Volkswagen with the Golf, EOS, Beetle and the T-Roc. T-Roc still surviving to this day. Jaguar, XJS, XKR, F-Type, Lotus, Elan, Elise. We have the TVRs, Griffin, Shamira, Tamora, and again the Tuscan will come in the T-top. Land Rover, you think Land Rover doing convertibles? Yes, Land Rover, the Freelander. Can we include the Freelander as a convertible? The original ones had like a lift-off back part, which could be convertible. So it's a semi-convertible. And the Evoque, which was interesting times when we started. Again, the Evoque and the Murano and the T-Cross all sort of are this next level of when we're going from small cars into it's not SUVs, whatever they call them, the MPV, SUVs, small SUVs, crossovers, bloody hell. That's when we're going into crossovers. And like, how well did those cars sell? You know, we've lost these small cars, we've went into crossovers, and then we've made 3 convertible crossovers, and how well are they selling? Like, who's going into a dealer and going, I think if there was a nice little convertible in a dealer, you could convince somebody to get into that instead of getting into a crossover. You know, it's like an upsell if you're going to go in and buy a Golf convertible, or I'll buy a Tiago or something. You know, I think you could talk somebody into like a Golf convertible, but it's hard when somebody goes in to buy a Tiago to talk them into a T-Roc. Yeah. Toyota had the RAV4. Again, we're into small 4x4s with the convertible traction, and MR2 in Toyota. I include this here, the Vauxhall Frontera. Again, it's a removable roof. Again, these are even before crossovers existed. And the Vauxhall also in the VX220. These are Opals if you're in Europe. Mitsubishi Pajero also came as a convertible, but super rare in the UK. Right. So that's all the cars, and I'm sure there's some more that I missed. I'm not including Bentleys, Rolls Royces, Ferraris, Porsches. Obviously, we all know what those convertibles are, but we're really looking at the segment below BMW and Mercedes. We're looking at more regular cars. Okay? Sub-premium, what would you call the segment? But just the sheer number of convertibles, most brands had them, all the French had them. And again, also we have like the sub-cars like Maharis, Seat Marbella's, Fiat Pandas with sliding roofs, soft top roofs. Lots of open top motoring that we didn't include there. But this is just the most regular style of convertibles. So there's so many gone. Peak sales of convertibles were in the UK were in 2004, 94,000 sales. In 2022, which is when, I think around 2020 and 21 is like just before COVID, and COVID is when the convertibles seem to die, right? 2022, 16,000 convertibles sold. In 2020, there were 29 convertibles for sale in Britain, right? And that's including everything, Porsches, Ferraris, everything. Today there are 16 convertibles available in Britain, right? That's pretty strange, isn't it? Like, what's brought that on? Is this part of the EV mandate? Is this part EV mandate? Is this part of the EV regulations and just the added weight and complexity of batteries, then adding another subset of systems of like complicated roofs is just more weight, less aerodynamic efficiency is going to harm electric cars too much. They've just been discontinued. Is it because of the weight penalty? We're already suffering a weight penalty with hybrids and electric cars that people don't want to put electric roofs in them because these cars just seem to stop being developed altogether. Is it a crash thing? Are they just so much harder to get a Euro NCAP 5-star with a convertible? I imagine it is. So I think, I don't know, I'd be interested to know if anybody knows, like, are regulations really stripping out convertibles? Because even if we sort of look at a lot of the convertibles that are left, Porsche is like still a full convertible, but this, in the supercars, they're all like a carbon top, and it's all like it's a Targa top, really. Porsche is a Targa, but all these cars are really the Targa tops. This true soft top convertible isn't really there. What do we have? I don't know, is there still a Rolls-Royce Wraith convertible? Maybe. But even the Mercedes S-Class convertible, it's gone. There's so many cars, so many. If you might not really have noticed, but if you go in and have a look just at what manufacturers have discontinued, really, there are so many convertibles that have gone. In 2025, the convertibles that are for sale in the UK, MX-5, Fiat 500, Smart 42, I'm not sure about that, Mini, Ford Mustang, BMW 4 Series, Mercedes-Benz CLE SL, 911 Boxster, Corvette, try and find one of them, MG Cyberstar, a T-Roc and a Jeep Wrangler. That's what's available in a convertible in the UK. Obviously, the Koreans never really went into convertibles. The Japanese didn't make a lot of convertibles. There are like Celica convertibles and things, but I don't think they were ever really sold in the UK. So the convertible market was really a French, excluding the American side, was really like a big part of this French and Volkswagen with and Audi with the TT and the Golf. And if you look at Volkswagen's product range just now, there's 3 SUVs beginning with a T, Tiguan, Tiago, T-Roc, what's the other one's called? Atlas, all 4-wheel drives or electric stuff. I mean, everything's just either a crossover or electric. There's so few, the Golf is still there and e-Golf and things, but there's so few, such little variety. They would tell you that there's a lot of variety, but there's really no variety in a lot of these manufacturers. These cars are all built on the same platform, and then they just don't diverge from it. They just stop developing convertibles. And I think that convertibles have just stopped being a thing because people have stopped buying them, or just because in the dealership there's no convertible option. If Mini, I think, is still the best selling convertible in Europe and certainly in Britain, but that's just because it's available. Like, if somebody wants a small little convertible for nipping around the country or nipping around the town or wherever they stay, what are your options? Because a lot of people aren't going to buy an MX-5. The MX-5 has always been a consistent car that's always been there, but a lot of people aren't going to buy that. They think it's a 2-seater, it's a sports car, it's too small. But people will buy a Mini, right? But not an MX-5, which again is another strange thing, but just that little bit of practicality of the space behind the back seats of a 4-seater convertible is a thing. You know, like the E-Class convertible, I think is still quite a good seller. But, you know, again, you're going in the M4, not M4, 4 Series and the A5. These are the bigger convertibles that are selling. But why have we just taken all of these convertibles out of the lower end of the market? Do people on a budget not get to buy like a fun car? In my last video, I talked about the Renault 5, the new electric Renault 5. You know, that would, again, probably impossible to do, but that's another cool little car that would be nice zipping around if it was a convertible. But, you know, these manufacturers just seem to have gone so far away from making things that are fun for people, like this quirky and fun, and cars that are interesting that somebody might actually enjoy driving. And, you know, people just buying like, especially in the lower end of the market, there's very little sort of quirky little fun cars and, you know, fun interiors and nice colours and things. Like, oh, you buy a yellow Kia Picanto, wow, I bought a yellow car. But like, you know, there's still the same black and grey plastic shit boxes inside. You know, think of all those fun patterned interiors we had in the 80s, and again, Renault's trying to bring that back with a bit of yellow, a bit of colours and things in the seats, but I don't know, maybe Renault is kicking off a bit of a revolution for everybody in small cars, because manufacturers need to do something else, because they're certainly not selling cars in the numbers they used to. And, you know, people would say buying smaller cars at the end of the market is like you're buying a vehicle just to get from A to B. But, you know, I think making it soulless is a bit too much, just going to like the Japanese or Korean style of manufacturing cars with like Yaris's and all of this Koreans and things from the past, from the early 2000s and late 90s, where they were just making these are just boxes to get people from here to there, just consumer electronics. And do we want the rest of all of our cars to be like that? You know, the French and to some degree even the Germans had a bit of like fun about their cars for a while, and we've lost that and just went to this grey black box interior and boring blob crossovers. Where are all the convertibles? If anybody else thinks about, if anybody knows any reason why manufacturers have stopped this, like, give us a shout in the comments, because I would love to know what people's thoughts are. Like, why are the reasons that convertibles have just vanished? Like and subscribe. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come back. We should probably finish the video we actually started before we got sidetracked talking about electric cars. We're going to try and paint on some of this Renovo back to black stuff on our soft top and see what it does to getting it back to a decent colour, because it is pretty faded. And I've never used this before, but it looks like I'm actually just painting the roof. So we'll give it a go. It says you should put 2 coats on. There's a few spots there. This goes on pretty easy. I have a wet rag in my pocket in case I spill any on anything. But it's literally like I'm just painting the roof, which this could be quite a good idea. Having not tried it, let's see how it finishes out and works out. I did clean this roof with the jet wash at a distance. Always jet wash your roof at a distance. There's nothing worse than going to see a car and somebody has like jet washed the roof far too close, because you don't just leave marks in it, you're actually dislodging the fibres of the roof and fucking wrecking it, right? So be really careful when you're jet washing your roof not to go too close. If there is something stubborn and staining it and hard to get out, get a brush and brush it out. Like, don't attack it with the pressure washer, because all you're going to do is fucking wreck your roof forever afterwards. Right, I know I'm going like side to side and upright, but this is just in the seams. Right, it's pretty thin liquid, it's bubbling up. This is going to take a while, so I'll leave it here. But I wasn't just starting off making that video about doing this job and then getting totally sidetracked in my questions about what happened to all the convertibles. But it's an interesting point. It's something I've been thinking about. It's the kind of thing that comes into my head during the day, and I'm just like cutting around like, where the hell did all the convertibles go? Anyway, I'll let you know how this goes once I'm finished. Okay, so I've done half the roof. It looks pretty good. I'll have a look here. This is the black. It's coming out. It's got to dry yet. It's obviously a little bit patchy because it needs to dry. But we can see the line here. Back to black, super grey. Let's see how long it lasts. Let's see if it really tints it well. and we get a good finish. But like, honestly, it really shows up now how bad the actual roof was. Honestly, this car lives with the roof down all the time, so I barely ever look at it, but because it's parked in the garage. But looking at it now, it's like, wow, what a mess that roof is. So this is looking in pretty good, making a big difference. Let's crack on and see how it looks at the end. This is finished. It's drying out still a little bit. It's going to be dry fast. It's hot here today, but it looks a little bit patchy there. I'm sure once we get second coat on, it will suckle that up and it will look amazing. That looks so much better. I didn't even appreciate it, how much I needed it, until I have done it, and now that it's done, wow, that looks really, really good. So it's Renovo, recolors, reconditions like new. Seems to do what it says on the tin.